Constant updates and improvements to the network being made 24/7 and new HIPs being introduced and discussed every day, the core development team felt it necessary to more formally gauge sentiment of the Helium community. Whether you are concerned about a 1,000 to 1 redenomination split of HNT or a regional rewards adjustment, this new tool will help your voice be heard. This was originally done via straw polls in the official Helium Discord, but now there is a much more formal and efficient way for the core developers to gauge sentiment. This is now known as Helium Vote, and it has its own designated landing page. This is a major step in the right direction for the ultimate goal of decentralized governance. We will discuss the details in today's video. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video here in the Crypto Compound channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Today is an exciting day. Tomorrow, even more exciting. Tomorrow is the release of the minted miner in the US, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There'll be a link below to get your miner. 7,000 gold spot, 1,000 black spot miners will be available. They will sell out fast. So mark your calendars, set your alarms, get your bookmarks ready, and try to grab a miner if you are interested. Today's video is going to be very, very important for the Helium community. It is a major step in the right direction for decentralized governance of the Helium network, with an emphasis on gauging sentiment directly from the Helium community. We'll go through how it will work. We will touch on the landing page here where you can vote. There was a vote for ice cream. Critical vote here. This was very important. I hope you guys were on top of that. That was just a test vote. And then we will also look at some of the HIPs here that are very controversial, very important. And we'll also touch on my feelings of the actual redenomination vote, which should be happening within the next week. This is it actually addresses it here. This is actually part of one of the main reasons why they developed this Helium vote landing page or app or whatever you want to call it. HIP 39 is the redenomination of HNT HIP. It is extremely controversial. However, my feelings are in favor of a major split. I will make a separate video outlining in detail why I believe that. But in short, in summary, I will vote for the redenomination. Now, before we get into the real nitty-gritty and the details of how the vote works, how to participate, this is an example of how a vote or a gauge of sentiment from the Helium community worked prior to this. As you can see, it's just simple straw poll in the Discord. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or yes, but it needs some work. This was just an example of the HIP 39 1,000 to 1 split. And you can see the results here. This was just a quick straw poll. I think it closed within 24 hours. As you can see, I voted thumbs up. But this is just an example of how it worked before. Not very formal, not very sophisticated, but it did gauge the sentiment properly, but now there's just a much better way of doing it, and we'll talk about that right now. So here's the official announcement. They go on to say, as a way to increase community participation on HIPs, Helium improvement proposals, and gather feedback beyond Discord straw polls, core developers have created a website, heliumvote.com, as an interim solution while the community discusses on-chain voting proposals like HIP 31. How it works: you visit the website, which is right here. We will get here in a second, and select one of the open votes. As you can see, this is closed, but you can see what the selections were. Each vote has a block deadline and a countdown to when the voting ends. Of course, that's important. It's also important to stay on top of what is being voted on and when, so that you can participate. 3, each vote may contain 2 or more outcomes. Select the choice you prefer, which is always good. 4, each choice will have a unique wallet address for you to burn data credits into. A burn transaction is an on-chain transaction and costs around 35,000 data credits or 35 cents. Your vote power is the account's HNT balance plus staked HNT balance, if applicable, at the block deadline. The wallet address used to submit the transaction will have its vote power counted towards the vote option. Now, these 2 points here are very important. First of all, there is a small 35 cent fee for participating here. That's what I take from number 4 here. But number 5 is even more interesting. There is something that they're referring to as vote power, which is based on the HNT balance of your wallet address or of your staked HNT. So this is one very important thing, I'm sure it's going to be a very controversial part of this voting process, because vote power will put an unproportionate amount of power and voting power in the hands of the people with the largest HNT balances. Now, of course, these large HNT balance wallets will be held by institutions, partners of Helium, founders of Helium, and investors, large corporate investors in Helium. That is one very interesting piece to this voting process. And it is mentioned quickly here in number 5. Let me know what your thoughts are on that below. Number 6, you cannot change your vote after submitting the transaction. 7, at the block deadline, vote power is tabulated. That's an interesting piece that they elaborate on a little bit down below. Number 8, after the block deadline, we will flush data credits in the choice addresses. Here's a quick example. A user has a wallet balance of 4 HNT and submits a burn transaction. Their vote power is 4 because that is what they originally have. If this user earns HNT between the burn transaction and the vote deadline, increasing their balance to 5 HNT, their new vote power is 5. So if you are mining HNT and your balance is constantly updated, the balance that is going to count is going to be the one closest to the actual vote deadline, not necessarily when the burn transaction happens or when you vote, but actually when the deadline happen. They go on to say, this is our first attempt at an on-chain voting system and an exciting step towards decentralized governance. The votes here are intended to capture community sentiment and support the current rough consensus mechanism. As you can see here, this is a very sophisticated and nice way of saying that these votes are not going to decide what Helium does. That ultimately will be in the hands of the core developers, DY Alliance, and Helium. However, this is a very organized and well thought out way to capture Helium community sentiment, which is very important. And as you can see, this was the test vote that they conducted around last week. Let's go here to look at what the landing page looks like. So this is what it looks like when you get to the landing page. It says Helium Vote is where the Helium community comes together to make decisions on the network. Each vote will be driven by a Helium improvement proposal. When HIPs are ready for voting, they will appear here. The number of votes going towards each voting choice is determined by your HNT and staked HNT wallet balance. This is known as voting power. That is what they mentioned in the Discord. To cast a vote, submit a burn transaction using the wallet of your choosing. Total cost, approximately 35 cents. Final votes will be tallied at the block deadline, and data credits burned to each vote choice will be purged from the network. So as you can see here, very, very simple. This is a nice summary of what is going on here. Closed votes, you can see, I'm sure at some point, maybe next week, they'll have a HIP 39 open vote here, and you'll be able to select. Now, if we look at the results here, this is very, very interesting. You can see that there are 3 options: strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. I would have voted for chocolate, of course. But the interesting thing here is that there are 2 columns: total voting power and unique voting wallets. As you can see, based on unique voting wallets, chocolate has won. But based on total voting power, strawberry has won. Very interesting, especially to see that outlined very explicitly here in the test vote, that more people can be in favor of one option, but a different option could ultimately win based on their voting power, not based on the number of people that want that particular selection. So this is a great example. I don't think this was done on purpose, but this is a great example to show the power of, air quotes, voting power through this particular voting mechanism based on how the rules are set right now. And of course, guys, here's a few lists of the in discussion HIPs. There are 40 total. Of course, some of these are closed, approved, delayed, in discussion, but there are some that are very interesting, very controversial, and a lot of people feel strongly in different directions on some of these. HNT redenomination being the most recent, most controversial one. Like I mentioned, am in support of a 1,000 to 1 split in HNT. There should be a very formal vote, I believe, within the next week that will appear here on the site. I will put a link to this website below so you guys can check it out, set your calendars, make sure that you know when these votes are happening so you can participate. And as you can see here, guys, despite chocolate having a higher unique wallet vote count, strawberry did win because strawberry had the total voting power that was larger than chocolates. So that is one very interesting thing to keep in mind. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know if you think it's fair. But very cool to see this really deployed so quickly right before HIP 39 can be voted on properly. And it looks like about 2,700 people voted. Hopefully in the future we can get that number into the tens of thousands to really get a good gauge of proper sentiment here in the Helium community. Guys, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you guys vote. I hope you make it to the site in time to do the proper voting for what you guys really want. Let me know what you think about this voting system, and in particular what you guys think about HIP 39. We'll have a separate video on why I am in favor of a major split there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. But just like that, this video is over, and I'll see you next time.